What are your top three worst performances of the year?
I'm not really going to go in any specific order, but if I had to give just the three off the top of my list right here, I have to go with the Los Angeles Rams, Russell Wilson, and the Los Angeles Dodgers. And it may seem like I'm kind of digging at Los Angeles because I got the Rams and the Dodgers in this list, but I think there's definitely some criticism that they rightly deserve based on how this year has gone from them. I will start with the Rams. I mean, the Rams, I will give them credit. They started off the year very well with winning a Super Bowl championship against the Cincinnati Bengals to start the year. But after that, it's been just an absolute disaster. This was a team that had back to back Super Bowl aspirations, and with the roster that they had constructed, and obviously the core guys that they had maintained from that team last year, it looked like the Rams were in prime position to go after another Super Bowl run this year, and it ended in outright catastrophe. They are the worst team in the NFC West. It's been probably the biggest drop off that I've seen from a Super Bowl champion to the next season, with just the incompetence that they've had as a whole. Uh, the defense has been bad. Matt Stafford has looked inconsistent. Sean McVay's coaching ability looks like it has taken a major hit this year. And it just, from a big picture perspective, the entire season for the Rams has been an absolute letdown. And from it to come from a Super Bowl championship just the year prior is utterly astonishing to me in a negative fashion. And as far as I see it, they definitely deserve to be in this unfortunate category of being one of the worst performers of 2022 in the sports world. After that, I got to kick it to Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, with the level of play that he has brought this year, it's just been an outright travesty this year. There was a lot of hope for the Denver Broncos to be potentially a Super Bowl caliber team this year when the Denver Broncos made the trade with Seattle to bring Russell Wilson into the fold. And you could tell that the Broncos put a lot of investment into Russell Wilson for the foreseeable future. They gave him a 5 year, $245 million contract after that trade was finalized. That's a major extension to give to Russell Wilson. And he has followed it up with just a subpar year. And a subpar year is kind of putting it mildly. It's just been an atrocious year for Russell Wilson this year. He has 12 touchdowns to 9 interceptions. The offense is dead last in points per game. And there have been multiple times where Russell Wilson and the offensive players and the offensive coaching staff have just been kind of going at it. And it obviously bubbled over and just an outright atrocious loss to the Los Angeles Rams. And I mean, I just brought up the Rams just a couple of seconds ago. The Rams are a terrible team. They got beat by Baker Mayfield by like 35 points. The Broncos gave up 51 points, and I believe the Broncos only scored like 14 or 17 points in that game. It's just an outright travesty with Russell Wilson. Obviously, he has taken a major step back. It may look like the Denver Broncos are regretting that trade with Seattle this past offseason. And when it comes to Russell Wilson specifically, I mean, he's the leader of the offense, and he has failed in every single regard that I can imagine with him this season. It's been a major letdown year for him and the Broncos, and I think it's well deserved to be in this unfortunate category once again of being one of the worst performers of 2022. And then the last one, when it comes to worst performers of 2022, is going to be the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Dodgers were the cream of the crop in the National League this year in Major League Baseball, and they fell incredibly short by getting upset by the San Diego Padres in the divisional round of the NL playoffs. It was just utterly shocking to see a team that had, I mean, just absolutely ran through the regular season. You know, when you see a team get over 100 wins in Major League Baseball, that's an incredible season. And usually it warrants some sort of playoff run. But the Dodgers were in a completely different stratosphere. The Dodgers won over 110 games. And, you know, when you look at the entire landscape or the entire history of Major League Baseball, there are very few teams that have ever been able to put up that type of winning percentage where they're winning basically damn near 70 to 75% of their games. And for it to end in just an utter embarrassment in the essentially take away the wild card round. Essentially, the first round of major league playoffs when it comes to all the teams that are in that moment, it's just an utter travesty as far as I see it. And the Dodgers are one of those teams that are always sort of in that World Series type of contention. And I'll say this, I mean, they were one of the teams that I had a pretty big expectation to go all the way to the World Series and potentially win it. And for them to lose the way in the manner that they did, it was extremely disappointing. And to be quite honest with you, I don't know if they're going to be able to bounce back from something like that. I mean, they still have a good overall team, and you can never really count them out. But I don't know how you're going to be able to bounce back from winning 110 games and you lose in the first round of the playoffs to the Padres. And maybe they can get it back, but it's going to be a tough one nonetheless. So that pretty much rounds out who I consider the top three worst performers of 2022 in the sports world. Definitely the Los Angeles Rams. Russell Wilson is in that conversation. And to round it out, the Los Angeles Dodgers. But that's who I have as the worst of 2022 as far as I see it.